Good morning, everyone. It's Kristen at Leftover Cake Chat. Happy Sunday, everyone. Happy Father's Day to all those dads out there. Let's give a toast to you. I've got a little tiny bottle of champagne this morning. That was a gift. That is lovely. This morning, I have the cutest little oh my goodness, I can't remember what they are. Macaroons, I think. Well, let me just tell you. They are, yes, macaroons. Oh my goodness. These cute little boxes that say I do and we do. And they are part of the bridal collection of a gluten-free product that is out of Italy that a client has shared with me, and they are having the champagne flavor and the salted caramel flavor. So I have one of each to try. Oh my God, that's the champagne. Hold on. Good morning, Laura. That's salted caramel. Definitely my favorite. So good and so cute. They're packaged lovely. They're going to make great little favors for weddings. So that's my leftover cake today, although it's macaroon. And it's not leftover, but there probably will be some leftover. So good morning. Good morning, Laura from San Diego. I'm not drinking my Rev energy drink this morning. I am drinking champagne. It's a Father's Day. It's a holiday. What am I talking about? So a few different things today. Has anyone ever heard of pajaki? Not something that you buy on like the late night infomercials for your car or anything. Pajaki are these super cool straw and paper chandeliers that are historically part of a Polish celebration tradition dating back to the 18th century. And I have a client who has some Polish history that she wants to incorporate into her celebration. And these are so cute. I cannot wait. Reminds me of a wedding I did for Sky and Nathan in the Florida Keys in Key West, where they did paper flowers everywhere hanging. Well, these are going to be straw and paper chandeliers, and they are the cutest things. I'm actually talking with Ritual folks, which are going to be hopefully providing these, but there are other vendors on Etsy that make these, and you can customize them, and they're colorful and bright and they're just adorable. So I'm going to share some photos with you of some that are on Etsy on our page afterwards, but they are meant to bring happiness. And so in the Polish tradition, that is what they are meant for. They are used for holidays, weddings, babies, everything. And so we are going to have some of these as part of this wedding. So I'm excited to bring you that. So that is my product spotlight of the week, pajaki, which is actually spelled Pajaki, not how I would have pronounced it. But thanks to Google, it actually tells you how to say things as well now. Amazing. So then I'm going to talk about tenting for weddings, because we are in hurricane season in Florida, and we are in summer in Nashville. And it's just always really important to have a backup plan. And you have to think of things like heat, which causes you to want to bring in fans or air conditionings, which you absolutely can do as part of these amazing tents that are offered. So there's all different kinds of tents. You can do a pole tent with the beautiful high-pitched sailcloth peaks, which I love. We did a custom tent on Sunset Key once that was just unbelievably amazing, a Sperry tent. And I love those, which I think we're going to see a lot of in Nashville at Bel Air Mansion. You can do a structure or a framed tent. Obviously, that's probably the more traditional tent. There are clear tents. I do want to caution you that although they are beautiful, they act like a greenhouse. So literally, if you are in warm weather and you want a clear tent, you have to understand that you literally are like a greenhouse effect when it comes to the heat. So you can have a clear tent. I highly suggest air conditioning and closing it. Or Tommy Bahama makes some really beautiful large standing fans that you can get in there. But again, those clear tents are warm. Any tent is going to get warm if it is sitting in the sun without sides and without ventilation. So just think about that when you are thinking of renting a tent. A lot of properties have really strict rules on tents. You have to know those rules and what your venue requirements are when it comes to tenting. As your planners, we do all of this for you, but if you do not have a planner, I want to share with you that you need to think about things about where this tent is going. Is it balanced? Is the actual ground balanced? You don't want people to slip in holes or roll an ankle or do something if you're not putting down any type of flooring, or if you're not using this tent on a flat, like concrete structure. If it's on the lawn, you really have to think about these things. You also have to think about bugs. Not a fan of bugs, as you all know by now. But if you are setting up a tent on a grassy area that might have ants or might have some other type of bug on the ground, you have to think about that. So this actually happened at a historic home that we were doing a wedding at. We had beautiful tents set up on the lawn. The client's vision was to have all the tables on the lawn. They did not want any type of flooring. So we got everything set up, and just minutes before the ceremony was about to start, doing our walkthrough, we actually went to check the tables and saw that there were ants crawling up the chairs from the ground onto the tables. We did not even have food on the tables yet. So as you can imagine, you go into a little bit of panic mode and you start dealing with that, because you do not want people coming to their dinner tables and finding ants. Fortunately, they were not red ants, and we did get rid of them with the help of the venue and the caterer and teamwork, and the bride and groom never knew until afterwards. We told them. Christina, if you're watching, you're going to remember this. Anyway, it was resolved, but can you imagine if we had set the cake out and had not thought about that or done that? So that could have been a disaster. So you have to think about these things. You have to sort the right spot on the property at the venue that you are choosing to tent at. You have to ask, can you have vehicles driving out to this location to drop off everything needed to set up the tent? Can you actually stake in the ground, or are you going to hit irrigation systems? You have to be really careful of that. That could be a very costly mistake. So never assume, never ever assume. Think about kids, think about, running around, the options of the tent being exposed and open if there's any water or pools around there and you're going to have anything happening at night. Again, think about flooring, think about sound. If you are at a venue and you are abutting another property or abutting, homes, you have to really think about sound and where you're placing speakers and where you're placing things that are going to be affecting lighting. Lighting is super important. All tents come as a blank canvas, so you have to have lighting. That incorporates electricity, so you have to make sure that you are setting up somewhere with access to electricity or generators, which are going to be loud. So that's another thing you have to consider with sound. If you're having a band, bands will not sit typically on the ground. They want to be up off of anything that could possibly get wet for safety reasons, first and foremost. Secondly, those pieces of equipment that they are bringing to make your wedding sound fantastic and everyone dance are very expensive. So all of those things have to be considered. It is basically building an outdoor ballroom. And so you have to also think about decoration. So draping, lighting, what your tent looks like when it gets there. A lot of these tent companies, if you are not dealing with someone that is reputable, you could get a tent that looks like it has just come out of a junkyard. I have seen really dirty tents show up where I'm like, no, bring it, either clean it or get another one. Not happening. So again, things you probably don't think of. You see all these beautiful pictures on Pinterest and Etsy and all of these wonderful setups, and those are staged. Remember, staged photographs, and those are staged photo shoots. So everything is going to be the best of the best, which is what we want you to have, which is why we talk about things that you might not think of, like draping. You also have to make sure that your tent is tied down, whether you are in a hurricane zone or not. Winds can kick up. There's other type of inclement weather that can happen. Storms can all of a sudden come in, microbursts. This happened to me on my little vintage Betty. It was a perfectly calm day. All of a sudden the wind kicked up off the water and tore the awning right off of Betty. This can happen to a tent, which is what you do not want to have happen at your wedding. So you need to make sure that your tent is either staked down with permission of the venue or tied to water barrels, which are the only thing that will be full and strong enough. And you want to make sure those are covered to match your tent with either linen or the same type of draping that's used for the tenting. And so just, again, things to think about. Also, I'll lastly say things about move in and move out on tenting. So for us as planners, we go with a very strict timeline based on your entire day. It is fantastic if the venue will allow you to set your tent up the day before, just to make sure everything holds up and to, test everything out, and also to take it down the day after. It's really challenging to get a tent up and down in the same day and be able to allow for all the setup and everything that is needed. So tenting, it can be done. It has been done, but it is preferred by everyone to do it the day before and the day after breakdown. Let's see. The other thing to think about is dance floor. So if you are considering to have a dance floor and dining in your tent, you're looking at 20 to 25 square foot per person for tent space. If you are not having your dancing and a dance floor in your tent, you're looking at 18 to 22 square foot per person. So that's just some rough calculations to think about if you're thinking about having a tent. And we actually highly suggest you having a tent, especially now, again, during hurricane season. But it is warm. I did a photo shoot last weekend in Nashville, and it was so warm. And it's only June. And so you can imagine somebody having an August or a September wedding and having grandparents out there or just anyone in the heat. You have to really be considerate of that and make sure that you are taking yourself and everyone else into consideration. So then I'll just talk to you quickly about my destination choice of the week, which is a place that I came through this week, which was Crystal River, Florida, which is called Nature Coast in Central Florida, about 3 hours from Fort Myers for me, 3.5 hours coming through Tampa, right off of 75. You can get there. May and October are the most popular times for visits there. So if you're planning a wedding there, you probably want to avoid those 2 months because it is the popular manatee fishing, kayaking time, which are things that if you love are the place that you should be going to for your wedding and then perhaps, or your destination wedding, and perhaps extend for your honeymoon. So manatees, you can swim with the manatees, you can kayak with the manatees, you can paddleboard with the manatees, you can just watch the manatees from a glass bottom boat. There's great fishing. There are tons of natural springs. There's a fun little kind of hippie artist community called Cedar Key, which is not too far from there. Really great seafood in that area. So crab, shrimp, all kinds of boils going on. Crawfish, I think. I'm not a big crawfish fan, but I think that's one of the things you get there. Catfish, not a big catfish fan either, but some people are. I'm sure it tastes like chicken, like they say. Lots of state parks. So it is a, dog-friendly place as long as they're on leash. The average water temperature in Crystal Springs is 72 degrees. Not bad, especially you people from New England. One of the coolest things that I learned about a few years back that I did not know about was cave diving in Crystal Springs area or and around there. It's one of the largest in the continental United States. There's one, I believe, that I read somewhere. It was like 28,000 feet. I don't know if that's correct, but that's pretty much, that's a lot. And that is something I read. So if you're into something really cool like that, look up Crystal Springs, Florida, or reach out to us. We can help you. There's also golfing there. If you are into golfing, that's another spot that you would visit. The Crystal Blue Crystal Blue Bed and Breakfast is a cute little place that actually allows dogs. So that's my destination for the week. And if you have any questions, let me know on tents, Crystal Springs, Pajak, and the chandeliers, or these sweet little macaroons as favors. Reach out at Solo Group Events or the Bridal Treat and let us know how we can help you. You do have to accept StreamYard to send questions in and let us see who you are. Otherwise, you can send them through our chat like you normally do, or Messenger, and we are happy to answer any questions. And you can also set up a time to speak with one of us after hours or during the day, anytime, if you have any wedding questions. So that's all I've got on this Sunday. Hope you guys enjoy your day, and we will see you next Sunday. Okay, bye everyone. Cheers.